They may not be old enough to vote, but kids can play an important role in government. I'm Jill Horner. This is Comcast Local Edition. With me this hour is New Jersey Assemblyman Fred Scalera of the 36th Legislative District. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you, Jill.
We are talking about high school kids who really have achieved a lot in their young years. You've worked with some advanced placement students in order to give them a better understanding of government and how the legislative process works. Give us an idea of some of the things that you do at Nutley High School.
Sure. Well, this is actually the second year that we're doing this. Started last year where I started working with the AP government class, the advanced placement class, on I call it a Make a Bill program. Come up with an idea for a piece of legislation, research it, draw it up. We bring it to OLS, which is our Office of Legislative Services. They put it into a bill form. We go back and review it. If they like it, then I sign the bill and I drop it in to be a current bill. And we're actually moving forward on a bill that we worked on last year about teen smoking.
So kids can really actually play a role in the governmental process. Their ideas could potentially become a law. Explain to us a little bit about what happened last year and what kids have learned about negotiation in government.
That's very true. In fact, last year they did a great job. They had they worked the town and the high schools and a couple thousand signatures supporting their legislation. They had students from the entire high school body emailing legislators, sending letters in. You know, they really had a concerted effort. And we were moving this smoking bill forward. It did pass the Assembly with full support. And we got a little stalled in the Senate. Because it requires notification of the parent, but it required the police officer to bring the student in, notify the parents, and people were concerned that there'd be like a search and seizure thing because to transport them they had to search them and could have found out what other things on them, and it was doing more than just trying to protect kids from smoking.
So right now, the class that you're working with, the idea is that if a minor is in possession of alcohol, even though he or she cannot purchase it, that is an offense. However, if a minor is in possession of cigarettes, that's okay.
That's correct. The little void in the law is you can't buy alcohol and possess it under 21. You can't buy cigarettes under 19, but if you have them under 19, a 10-year-old, as my example, could be smoking on the corner and the cop can't do anything about it. In fact, last week in the Bergen Record in Haledon, a cafe had a big party, and they put all the liquor away and had a party for kids. It was first off, it was overcrowded, and then there were hundreds of youth outside in the newspaper all smoking, and they really couldn't do anything about that. There's no law against youth smoking, just can't purchase it. So our new law, instead of tying everything into where they have the search and seizure problem, is the cop finds a student, he writes a report, goes to Juvenile Bureau. Juvenile Bureau takes it to counselor at the school system. The counselor at the school then notifies the parent. The child was caught smoking, counselor brings them in, and they have to join a club for the rest of the year in high school, whether it be students against destructive decisions or alcoholics group, but one of the preventative clubs, and they must go to that club continuously every week in the high school during their first time period.
Obviously, kids get a lot out of programs like this, learning about the governmental process, actually some of them even having the opportunity to testify in Trenton about this legislation. But what do you think you as an elected officials, other elected officials who participate in programs like this, actually learn from some of their youngest constituents?
Well, I learned that they're very educated. I learned they're very smart, and they want to be included in the process, but never knew the process. So we take them through drafting, writing on June 4th. I know this might air after that, but they'll be testifying at the Assembly Law and Public Safety. Then it'll be in the Senate Law and Public Safety. We're hoping to get this bill signed before they graduate at the end of June, so we're on a high-speed schedule here. But they've learned by petitions and negotiations and looking at last year's bill and changes to this year. We got a police officer, a lieutenant in charge of the Detective Bureau, and there's also a Board of Ed member, Steve Rogers, involved, helped me out with some of the legal problems and how to get it to this program where we tie in the counselors at the school. He came in and spoke with the children, or I should say students, they're not really children, the students, and we came up with the compromise bill, and so far, talking to fellow legislators, they're excited to see it. I know Assemblyman Gordon Johnson's the chairman of the committee, and he's excited to see it come down.
All right, thanks so much.
Thank you.
We've been talking with New Jersey Assemblyman Fred Scalera. I'm Jill Horner for Comcast Local Edition.